Hello, everybody. Today I'm talking with Xing Hao. Xing Hao is the administrative assistant in my academy. If you've had any correspondence with me, you will have corresponded with him. If you've done anything with my academy, I hope you know him. He's been an active participant in many classes, but he's also well, he was a graduate student at the University of Chicago. He just got his master's degree in the divinity school, and he's going to go on and get his doctorate in uh, Buddhist philosophy, I believe. He's the most globe-trotting person that I know. He's in Greece now because he's getting a second master's over there. Next time you hear from him, he'll be in India or Taiwan or back in Singapore. He never stays put, but he's a very dynamic young man. And I'm happy to say that again, because he's been participating so actively in the academy in so many ways, and completing his own further higher education, that as of next quarter, which starts next month in October, my academy, I've always structured it in having sort of 4 3-month quarterly periods, but they haven't meant so much. So I'm trying to have them mean more. I'd like to have some new courses as of October, and we're going to talk about them. And one of them will be his, because it's his area, it's his major, and he's better at it than I am or anybody that I know. He's going to be teaching a course in East Asian classics. East Asian classics. It might get up to some modern stuff in the future, but I looked at the syllabus. I mean, he's basing it on on these sort of classic ways of doing it. William Theodore de Barry's Chinese classics, and we had a class here in we called it Great Books of the East, and we were using the Max Mueller set of the classics of Eastern spirituality. But so Xinghao, can you talk about this class? How is it going to work, and what are you going to try to cover? And yeah, tell us about it. This is your first time teaching here, so what's it going to be like?
Right. Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for yeah, I guess thanks for everything. Been a big fan for a long time.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this class, I think it's very much like the Great Books of the East class you described, but
Hmm.
this time we're doing it with this series, the William Theodore the Barry's series called Sources of East Asian Tradition.
Hmm.
So it's pretty hefty. There's like two thick volumes, and the first volume would be pre-modern, and then the second volume is modern. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking of doing it in 2 years. Uh, well, each year being like the 3 quarters, so
Hmm.
everything except the summers.
Hmm.
And so the first academic year will be the pre-modern one, where you go basically up to, I guess maybe like 1800.
Hmm.
And then the second volume is just to probably like the 50s or 60s.
Hmm.
1950s, 1960s. Yeah. And so it's very much in the mold of the academy. So it's a weekly Zoom discussion class. And yeah, I guess maybe the difference is that we're trying to, or it is quite compressed, and I'm trying to have a fixed plan so that we can get through both volumes at a
Hmm.
pretty fast pace.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
So it sounds
yeah,
like
so
your
mm,
class is, in a sense, more of a like it. You're not going to be giving grades, right? I mean,
mm,
not interested in grading or thing where we want people who are actively involved in the learning process and are there because they want it, not because they need a grade or a degree or
mm,
something. This is continuing adult education, lifelong education. But it sounds like it's kind of structured more like a regular university course where you're going to have specific goals for a specific quarter. That's one thing. For better or for worse, in many of the classes that I've got going, it's German literature. We read a book, and when we finish, we start another book, and so it's the concept is it's sort of ongoing to do that. But yeah, it's nice to explore the idea of having things, like I said, to have the quarter mean something. Maybe to have some courses fit into the quarter structure. So you want to have this be the
mm,
first quarter of maybe 6 quarters, I guess it sounds like, and have specific
mm,
goals to do that. So yeah.
mm,
Are you going to have homework? Are you going to have, reading? What are the
mm.
expectations of people who take this class with you?
Right. Yeah. So, like you said, it's going to be more like a university course. So, because I did, in fact, teach a version of this course in the University of Chicago. So, I think I'm kind of like trying to match that with like your style.
Hmm.
So, But the homework is just to do the readings, think about it,
Mm.
look things up. Like if there's like obvious things like keywords
Mhm.
that you're not clear about, just try to
Mhm.
look it up. Yeah, but and I think I did find that trying to write a research paper at the end of each quarter is a good way
Mhm.
to stimulate your thinking and really like points out what you're interested in, what you're not so clear about. So I do try to so I recommend students do write that. It's completely optional, but
Mhm.
I promise to read it and give comments, and also
Okay.
to point to like, yeah, anything else they might find interesting. Yeah.
How many pages of reading a week are you thinking of?
Oh, that's a good question. So I list it in the syllabus. It's still tentative, but I tried to list it like the whole 2 years, week by week.
Mhm.
It's kind of I would say maybe up to 50, but probably closer to like 30.
30 to 50, so about 40 pages a week of reading
Yeah.
preparation. And then I'm sure, again,
Mm.
because we're not
In
uh,
English.
we're not
Yeah.
grading people or failing people or anything like here. It's obviously the amount of effort that you put in, and preparation you put in, the more you'll get out of it. So, it's not very good to come to class unprepared, but if you do, and you can just listen and participate in the discussion to the degree that you can, but obviously you need to do that. Um, just one thing, we're going to set this up somehow. We're working on different systems for platforms for having the academy be a bit more professional. But you'd like this to be, because it's a quarter system, you want people to pay for the whole quarter up front, right? Whereas I've had the subscription by month type thing. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because I've tried to plan each quarter to have a certain theme.
Hmm.
So for example, like the first quarter is like China before a certain period, and then the second quarter is Japan and Korea before
Hmm.
a certain period. So I just think it's better if students commit to coming to completing each quarter. And
Hmm.
so yeah, so the payment will be by quarter.
Hmm.
Uh and yeah, and I do encourage students to commit to finishing the whole 2 years, but I
Hmm.
understand that, things come up and people's lives change. So
Hmm. Hmm.
at
Very
least commit to a quarter at a
right.
time. Yeah.
Right, right. So, but you've
Yeah.
committed your whole life to this. I mean, this is you. I mean, you've got Theodore de Bry's book to guide you, but I mean, you've studied Sanskrit, you've studied classical Chinese, you've lived in India, you're from Singapore, you've been to China, Taiwan many times. You can read all these languages. You're getting your doctorate in it. I mean, this is really your bread and butter, the air that you breathe, right? I mean, you're very, very, familiar with this, and you have taught it, at the University of Chicago. So yeah, it's great to have. I've always hoped that the academy would be not just me, but yes, to hand it over to a younger generation, just sort of as a vision for yeah, this sort of continued stimulating of the mind, language growth, literature growth, history growth, stuff like that. So I'm glad this has happened. Great way to move forward.
Yeah, me too. Really excited. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And speaking of new things, you're also trying a few, not just new courses, but new types of courses this quarter, right?
Right, right, yeah. So again, following the same thing that you just said, I would like to have one which I, people who are watching this video at least probably are obliquely aware of the sort of the Catalan learning experiment that I did a couple of months back, and that was very popular. People watching, trying to get a view of how I go about learning a language. And so, without intending to give constant free publicity to the French firm of Assimil, the publishing, they really are the biggest, best autodidactic publishing house that I know of, even though they're going now into more other things. But the manuals that they put out are always in French initially, and then only a small portion of them are translated. And so much of the advice that I give to people is, use this method, do it this way here. But if you don't know French, you can't do that. And so I did Catalan because that was a language I hadn't studied, but I got a lot of feedback and people saying, why, it's too bad you're not doing this with German or Spanish or French in particular, if it's there. So, I like you, I mean, I had years of teaching experience, teaching French as a foreign language in Korea and in other places, and I can do that pedagogically. And it just occurred to me that if I can get people to understand really how to use the Assimil manual, then they can use it more effectively with all these other languages it's offered in. And maybe if this is a popular mode, then I can do other languages, more exotic languages, more interesting languages, different languages, if people know French as a base first. So I'd really like to, like you just said, I'd like to make a push over the next year or two to help people who are interested in autodidactic language learning, interested in my academy, interested in teaching themselves languages, to get good enough in French that they can access this whole range of Assimil French manuals. So I wanted to have, yeah, sort of learn as I would French. What I want to do is go over just completely go through an Assimil French method. Just as I would if I were learning the method, learning it as a new language. Obviously, I do know it already, but I know exactly how to go through it as if I were, doing it, and I'll measure my pace to what the people in the group are capable of doing with the Catalan. I went at my own pace. I will not go at my own pace with this. I'll go at at a reasonable learner's pace, a systematic pace of somebody, going through this with utmost efficiency, but not presupposing prior knowledge. So yeah, I want this to be a different course in a number of ways. I want it to be like that Catalan learning experiment, pretty much a daily thing. I know that's demanding a lot, and also I'd like to have my little weekends. So I want to have this is going to meet 5 days a week for 15 minutes at a time, actually, because that's what I, always talked about. It's a good chunk of time, 15 minutes of learning time, and then maybe 5 minutes of discussion time. Any questions or something, we'll do that. So meeting 5 days a week will instill the daily learning habit, which I've talked about so much. And people actually, I'll just be walking people literally through the process of using an Assimil method to learn French. And on the other 2 days, some people really need or want a weekend to break, take that. Or if people miss a day, you need to get behind or need to do something more, that can be sort of a makeup day. But I want it to be that way. And like you too, I want this to be something that people are both motivated and committed to sort of doing it a quarter at a time. So I'll also ask for this one that people pay, the entire quarter at once so that they're locked in and I have a base of knowing how many people I have and that there's more committed to doing that. And like you, I would like this to be maybe, I don't know, a 2 year program, but at least maybe 1 year. So each of the next quarters, if this works well, what I call peeling the onion, where, you use a different manual, a different thing. There's an advanced French manual. There are other French manuals. There are different type of things. So, yeah, if over the course of the next year, say, I can get, enough people who are interested in this kind of learning to be really good at using French, then they can use the manuals for learning other languages, maybe with me, maybe on their own. So that's the new thing. Um, Sort of as a new course and a new idea. We also have people suggested, I'm going to give it a try, another new course that will fit into the standard academy structure of meeting once a week and being paid on a subscription basis. But I've talked about my technique of scriptorium, of not just copying, but really writing by hand and being very cognizant while one's writing, reading aloud as one writes, and doing this in an artistic fashion. So I'm going to have a Scriptorium Practicum, which I will have to see by the people who are in it. What I envision is that the people who are in it will each be working on his or her own specific language at a level, and we can take that and do some scriptorium into various things, but also just because I call this polyliteracy, because it's interesting to learn different scripts that are out there in the world. You got the Chinese, Japanese, Korean. I've practiced those at least to some degree. There's all sorts of scripts and different things that one can do with scriptorium. So in the Scriptorium Practicum, yeah, I'd like to work with what people are actually doing, and also just sort of go through world scripts and have it be very much an artistic project. I It's somewhere in the YouTube world. I showed sort of an advanced scriptorium video where I had sort of an artistic book where I had on one page, I had lots of, different colors of print and different scripts and the like. And so I kind of envision that it will be um, like those Catalan videos that I did, or something where I'll probably have the camera not on me, but on the book that I'm writing, and I'll actually do scriptorium, and everybody will do it together, and then we can also talk about it and learn scripts and the like. So um, when we asked people, that seemed very popular. So I hope that that goes well. So that will be new and different. We haven't like had an actual practicum like that. Um, and then what else was popular? New course up. Just people asked for Scandinavian, comparative Scandinavian. We're going to run that. Try to run that if enough people signed up. And we have ongoing. I mean, it's a standing invitation. People are welcome to join at any time. Particularly great books of the West. You're doing great books of the East now, basically. Again, I mean, great books of the
Mm.
West. We're reading Aristotle, and really plowing through it. And it's not easy, but it's a fascinating project to see how you learn how a great thinker thinks. And, you sort of like peeling the onion. You don't necessarily grasp everything the first time. That's impossible, but you can go over it, understand more and the like. And so, yeah, welcome to that. With the German class, we've started reading short stories of Franz Kafka rather than staying with the longer Goethe's autobiography for the whole time. Greek, diachronic Greek, which we've done. We did Koine first, then we did ancient Attic Greek, now we did then we did modern Greek, and now we're using the Logos textbook again for ancient Greek. So yeah, we have a sort of number of revived things, a number of sort of well, a new course, but particularly, yeah, the scriptorium, and above all, the sort of learn as I would French. I have hopes, expectations for if this is popular. I think this is something that will help a lot of people, and that's what we're all about: helping people learn how to learn languages, helping people how to teach themselves how to learn languages.
Yeah, yeah, I think the daily model is really interesting because I find like even just doing a bit of it every day, but you sort of have it in the back of your mind the rest of the
Hmm.
day.
Hmm.
So it's just like it just works better than if you squeeze that into one like once a week, let's say.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And
I understand that's a commitment, but that's the whole point, and I understand not everybody can
mm,
make it at that time or do these things, but that's the way it works out. I'd like, I talk about it again. Another course people are always welcome to join is Principles of Polyliteracy, where I talk about, yeah, my pedagogy, my philosophy of language learning. And one thing I always stress is the importance of small doses, of but regular systematic daily practice. And so rather than just talking about it, to have an actual class structured that way, that meets that way, I think, I hope, will help some people really get into that habit.
yeah, yeah,
So,
really, really exciting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess we have to mention that all the links are in the description.
That's right.
Uh
Links are down in the description. Yes. Good.
Yeah, so the link to the Academy page where you can sign up. And then
Hmm.
also I will have a separate sign up link and just a link to the syllabus where you can get more details. Yeah,
Okay. Good. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, anybody who's watching this, you're interested in the Academy, what's going on? We just tried to share some stuff with you. Please, we have a standing invitation. You can always, I say, I'm curious to come for a visit. Write to Xing Hao. If you write to anybody on my site, on the forum, for information, you'll get him. Write to him and say, hey, I'd just like to come see how the Arabic Reading Circle works. I'd like to see what the Sanskrit class is like, and come. And if you like it, you're welcome to join. So, yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thank you.